All right.
Welcome to another edition of Interruptions. Today, my next guest is the original number 88. He's a Super Bowl champion, and now he has been voted to the NFL Hall of Fame. Simply put, if you don't know who I'm talking about Mr. Drew Pearson. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me
I appreciate you
a part of
blessing.
your show today. Right on.
I appreciate you blessing us with your presence. Uh,
Absolutely.
My first question for you is, what was it like playing for the legendary Tom Landry?
Actually, to put it simply, it meant everything to my career. It meant everything to me as an adult. I was under his mentorship when I first came to the Cowboys, 21, 22 years old. And he
Right.
was that adult mentorship that formulated me to live my adult life.
Okay.
And I figure if I can live it like Tom Landry, I'd be okay. But his thing about the system, giving everybody an opportunity to make the team, allowed an
Hmm.
undrafted free agent like me to
Right.
make the Cowboys, and because he had a system that depended on character, it depended on intelligence, it depended on passion, and of course, you had to have some talent. But if you
Right.
had the other three things and some talent, he could coach you up to be a Hall of Fame football player. So
Yes, sir.
that's what he did for me.
Well, let me tell you this
Yes,
before
he
I,
did.
I get to my next question is that I grew up. I'm gonna tell you the impact you had. You were a brand to yourself because I grew up and still am. I grew up a Washington football team fan. But
Right.
when I went out, playing throw up tackle football or we're out playing football, everybody, hey, I'm Drew Pearson. Like
Right.
it didn't matter the
Yeah.
team that you played for. What mattered was how good you were. And as a kid, we wanted to be you. So
Yeah.
I appreciate
Right
you
on.
doing what you were doing on the field because you were a brand to yourself. I mean, I knew kids that were still a fans, but when we went
Right
out,
on.
somebody may say, "Well, I'm Lynn Swan, I'm Drew Pearson," so
Yeah. Yeah.
we were more about the talent. Forget the team.
I
We
got
were
you.
about the talent. So what was
I
it
got you.
like? What was it like when you played in that era? What was the game like?
It was a different game. It was more of a, I think, I'm not going to say more of a physical game because today's game is pretty physical. That's why so many injuries out there. They're not
Uh-huh.
prepared to take that physical part of the hit.
Right.
The game simply because they don't prepare for that. Back in the
Okay.
day, we practiced in full pads Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and we hit in practice during the season. We were popping players. So when we hit the field, we were ready for the game. But because of the rule changes, the game is different. Back when I
Mhm.
played, it was more of a running back league. You think of
Yep.
all the great running backs that played when I played: O.J. Simpson, Walter Payton, Tony Dorsett,
Yeah.
Franco Harris. You can
Yeah.
go on and on. So Earl Campbell, I talked to him the other day.
Oh,
Earl
big
Campbell,
can.
people like that. Marcus Allen. It was a running back league back then. So that's what teams did. We didn't throw the ball unless we really had to throw the football. And because of the way the defenses were set up,
Right.
Otis, the first 5 years I played in the league,
Uh-huh.
the defensive back could bump you all the way downfield. He
Oh
could hit
yeah.
you as many times as he wanted to. He could
Yeah.
cut your feet out from under you at the line of scrimmage. He could do anything as long as the ball wasn't in the air. So when they changed the rule, that opened up the game. Because of those rules, it limited the passing game to a first down or second down. Third down is very difficult to throw the football downfield because of those defenses. But the game has changed. I think the thing that hurts the game more than anything right now, Otis, is the salary cap because it restricts teams from keeping players. It restricts teams from developing
Yes.
players. It restricts teams from
Correct.
having the best players out there on the football field to try to win football games. So I think that is the
And it
biggest thing
it kills
that's
the
hurting
chemistry.
NFL right now. It certainly does because it's a transient league. Players are moving, coaches are moving, coordinators are
Yeah.
moving, systems are moving. Back in the day with Tom Landry, the same system, the same players each and every year. So with that, you become a better football player because you know exactly what you got to do.
Correct. So tell me about the loaded. They call it the NFC least now, but it's still the NFC East, the beast. So tell me about the competitive nature of that division when you were playing, because every game was a rivalry. I mean, you had Washington, you got Philly, you got the Giants, and people forget you also had them
Right.
sneaky St. Louis Cardinals.
Yes, we did. It was a knockdown drag out every time we played them, twice a year, every time we played them, home and away. And when I was coming through, those teams were pretty much struggling, the Giants and the Cardinals and the
Mm-hmm.
Eagles. The team was the football club, the Washington
Right.
Football Club. That
Mm-hmm.
was the team because George Allen was there then. And so now we're competing pretty much with them for the NFC East title every year.
Right.
But then all of a sudden, Dick Vermeil shows up for the Philadelphia Eagles, and all of a sudden they got good. And then the Giants got better with Harry Carson and Lawrence Taylor and people like that. And then, of
Yeah.
course, St. Louis, you had Jim Hart, Mel Gray, Terry Metcalf, Otis Anderson. Oh, my God, Roger Worley. So you were competing with not only against some great teams, but some great football players on those teams. And a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
those football players are now in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah. One
And then, with
underrated.
the Washington Football Club,
Uh,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was
Go
just going
ahead.
to say one guy that was underrated. Receiver Roy Green.
Oh, yeah. Jetstream. Roy Jetstream. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. He was a bad man. I would be the first to tell you that because I standing on the sideline watching him do damage to us. There's no question. But I was getting ready to say about the Washington Football Club.
Mm-hmm.
I went to high school with Joe Theismann or Joe Thiesman up in South River, New Jersey. So
Okay.
that was always a big rivalry too. While we were playing together at the same
Okay.
time, him for Washington and me for Dallas. But every game was knockdown, drag out, and guess what, Otis? That's the way we wanted it. That's the way the NFL was back then. It was competitive. It was high siding, noise talking.
Yeah.
Guys getting after everybody. It wasn't no handshaking and hugging and changing jerseys after the
Nah.
game. It wasn't none of that going on. No, it wasn't none of that going on back in the day. No, sir.
No, that I remember. I remember one time, Dorset. I know you remember this game. I can't. I don't know. I don't know what game it was. As far as where it was in the city, but I remember you and the Washington football team got into a fight. And I remember Tony got up and threw the football at somebody. I don't know who it was. He threw it. I mean, it was like you said, there was no friendship. There wasn't no love lost. Like we don't like them, they don't like us. But
no, and the players play with the same teams over and over. So they knew you knew them. So it was real competitive.
and you guys kind of, I hate to say it, but I gotta say it because it's true. You guys did something where you guys pretty much started to me the 2-minute drill. I mean, because I've watched you guys here in Atlanta. I mean, man, we thought the Falcons, man, it was like, oh yeah, we got 'em. They got Dallas. They got next thing I know, and trust me, people still talk about that game today. It's like, wait a minute, they scored 2 scores in 2 minutes. At that time, that's supposed to be impossible. But you guys did it
Right,
more than
right.
once. You guys did it more than once. So, I mean, I don't think you guys, your Dallas team, gets enough credit for that, being able to score twice in 2 minutes.
Yeah, we got down early in that football game. The Falcons were really hot that year. Steve Brotkowski and all those guys, and they thought they could get us, and they jumped out on us. But there was time. As long as there was time on the clock, we felt we had a chance. And this was Danny White's opportunity to show that he can bring the team back. He's replacing Roger Staubach as the quarterback, so he wants to prove himself. And so he was able to hit me on one touchdown. And then we made a great stop on defense. I think it was Too Tall Jones made a great tackle to force them to punt the football and on a 3 and out, gave the ball back to us, and we took it right down the field. And Danny White put me in motion of coming across the backfield. And I gave, when he said hut, I came upfield. Rollin Lawrence, the cornerback, gave him a little shake and went to the post. And when I looked back, the ball was over, and that was the last touchdown touchdown we needed to lead and eventually win that football game. But yeah, we did that a lot of times. As a matter of fact, Roger Staubach himself 23 times
Yep.
when we were losing going into the fourth quarter, he pulled out games. 18 times we were losing in the final 2 minutes. He pulled out games. So yeah, they called St. Louis the cardiac Cowboys, but we were putting harder.
Yeah. Y'all Captain Comeback.
The way we played and came back in the day. Yes.
So let me ask you this question.
Yes,
let me ask you this question here, and I want you to be honest with me now. Let me ask you this question.
I know what's coming.
Could anybody cover you? Could anybody cover you?
Well, according to Harvey Martin, the late great Harvey Martin, my teammate, my mate, he used to say, "Drew, nobody can cover you." He said, "Drew, nobody can cover you, huh?" I said, "You're right, Harvey. Nobody can cover me."
Nobody can cover.
But no, you had to have the confidence that nobody can cover you. You had to have that confidence. If you didn't, like I said, with the rule changes and the physicality of these defensive backs back then, you better believe that you keep them on each and every opportunity that you got.
Well, I have two more questions for you. The next question is, when you saw, well, not, let me ask it better this way. Now that you will be inducted into the Hall of Fame, what does that mean to you?
Well, it means everything. It's what everybody that plays pro football aspires to. Everybody wants that. So many things have to fall in place for you to be in a position to warrant that recognition. You have to do what you have to do out there to propel, perform out there on the field, make the plays that warrant that kind of recognition. But you can't do that unless you're around some great teammates. And I was around some great players, Roger Staubach, Rayfield, Wright, Billy Joe Dupree, Dorsett. How about Tony Hill? Tony the Thrill Hill. Man,
Number 80.
Bad man.
Number 80.
He was a bad man. We said you used to dial 80. And so I had some great players that I played with and great coaching. And, that made me a good football player. So it meant everything to be a Hall of Famer. But to tell you the truth, as a player, you really don't dream of that. What I dreamt about is just winning that Dallas Cowboy Ring of Honor. And if I could get that to that level, then maybe I warrant reaching, to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But I got in that Dallas Cowboy Ring of Honor, and then the next thing for me I'm dreaming about and hoping for is that Pro Football Hall of Fame. I waited a long time, 38 years, 33 years as a senior candidate to get in, but I finally got in.
You're there.
That's all that matters.
You're there. I think one other guy that needs to be in there that you played with, and if he's in there, please forgive me, but Everson Walls.
Oh, no, he's not in, and that's a tragedy.
He was Dion before
That's
Dion.
A shame. He brought that up so I could. Amen. I'm glad you brought that up so I can say something in his defense. He needs to be in there. He's the only defensive back that led the league in interceptions, I think, 3 times. He had 12 interceptions his first year in the league. He's an undrafted free agent from Grambling.
From Grambling.
I mean, come on.
He needs to be there.
He was a finalist not too long ago, a couple years ago, and didn't get in. And the shame of that Otis, now that was his last year in eligibility to be a finalist. So now he's lumped into the senior category. And man, there's a tremendous log. Yeah, there's a tremendous log jam there, but he deserves it. There's no question about it.
He deserves it.
I was a better football player when he came to the Cowboys because I had to practice against him every day.
Right.
People like that every day. Sometimes the game was easier.
Correct.
You go against a guy like Everson Walls every day in practice. Come on. Yeah.
My final question for you: everything that you've been through in your life, on the football field, now going into the Hall of Fame, what would you say that got you to the point where you are now? What would you say that helped you get through everything that you've been through?
Well, I think the main thing is I did it my way. I followed my own path that the Lord laid out for me, the plan that he laid out for me. And, I had a great career in high school, but When I chose Tulsa University, everybody thought I was crazy. They were ready to give me a drug test. Why are you going to Tulsa? But that was my path. I didn't know
Right.
why I was going there either.
Right.
But that's where the Lord was leading me and part of
Okay.
my path. And I didn't have great success at Tulsa. I had a great education, but I had 3 losing seasons. I had 3 head coaches, and we were on probation 3 of the 4 years I was at Tulsa. So it was a negative atmosphere. But I had to weather through that, going through those challenges, that adversity,
Mm-hmm.
prepared me when the op came with the Dallas Cowboys. Even
Gotcha.
though I didn't think about it like then, but when you look back, you say, oh, okay, that prepared you. Coming into the league as an undrafted free agent, that's my path. That's the way the Lord had planned me to come into the league.
Sure.
He's not going to give me the opportunity as a number 1 pick. He's going to let me get in and see what I can do with it, see what I can do with the challenges. And so that's why I did it my way. A lot of people say you should have done this or that, but no, I did it my way. And my way was the plan that the good Lord had for me. Check out Jeremiah 29:11. That's what it's all about. That's the Bible verse I live by. He has a plan for us. It's a plan for
Right.
good, not for disaster. And if you believe in him wholeheartedly, hey, don't get me to preaching now, Otis.
Hey,
Don't get me to preaching.
hey, I wish I had more time with you. And this is what I want to do,
I hear you, brother.
Drew. I want to bring you back on the show. Maybe I know you're getting a lot of media requests and everything, but I want to bring you back maybe before the season starts over again,
Yes,
and
sir.
pair you up with maybe somebody like I don't know, Bishop Cortez Vaughn or
All
Carvin
right.
Winans, and we can talk about just what you said, far as the path that the Lord lays out for you, and we could
Right.
delve in a little bit more in each of you guys' story, and just have a mixture from the music industry to the sports industry. So I would love to do something like that with you, before the football season when everything kind of settles down a little bit more for you.
Well, Otis, you claim I'll be there, okay? That's all you got to do is call my name. I'll be there. Hood, hood.
I appreciate you. Thank you for blessing us with your presence. Thank you for being the man that you are to a little kid like me when I was growing up and went on the football field and said I want to be Drew Pearson. So I thank you for
Nice.
your class and thank you for who you are. And you are a treasure to our community. And once again, thank you for coming on our show. So stay safe and stay blessed.
God bless you as well, Otis. And thanks for having the original 88 on
The
your show today.
original
God bless you,
88.
brother. Hood, hood.
Peace.